let me spit some facts to you all of what made me suspicious in the very beginning. Okay? I'm not talking about in July of 2023 when I say suspicious. I'm talking about years and years and years ago. See, y'all don't even know that. But anyway, let's get it in. I see similarities with what Victor Conti has done 20 years ago through Balco, or I'll say the Balco scandal, to now, today. There's similarities to what I recall that happened with the Balco scandal 20 years ago, or 20 plus years ago, and today. In other words, is people are saying things out of their mouth, but their words are not matching their actions. This is what raises suspicions. We didn't get to the fighters just yet. We just get into the foundation first. Now, let me give y'all some examples to answer my question to myself, because nobody asked me of why am I suspicious? And I want you to wait in the chat. Don't go crazy yet. I want y'all to hear all the facts first, and then we're going to dialogue about it. See my eyes when I talk. We need answers. No one's word is good enough when we talk about doping and anti-doping unless they present evidence. Yes. Now, let's go back to the Balco days. Victor Conti said in a Netflix documentary, and we already know this to be true from back then, that he was only willing to work with top athletes. In fact, he said it in the second interview here on this channel. He's only willing to work with the top athletes. He said that then, and the top athletes that he worked with then broke records. Most of them did. Whether he worked with them directly or indirectly through their strength and conditioning coach by providing illegal substances. Okay? Barry Bonds, top athlete. Marion Jones, top athlete. Sugar Shane Mosley, top athlete. Bill Romanowski, top athlete. Alex Rodriguez, top athlete. Tim Montgomery, top athlete. I'm going to stop right there. I think y'all get the point. Now, let's fast forward 20-something years later to today. Victor Conti's still have that same strategy. He's only willing to work with top athletes. And he told us on this channel in an interview, he's not interested in working with people you have to invest too much time and money in to build them up, to become a star. He's only willing to work with top athletes. Brian Mendoza, Caleb Plant, Julian Williams, Terence Crawford, Devin Haney. I'm going to stop right there. These are the athletes that are on his program for more than one fight. Not just getting supplements sent to you one time and then it's over. Not that. I'm talking about on his program. The same way that the other athletes I just named before were on his program. Okay? And Bam Rodriguez also. Okay? Now, did we see some good results when the top athletes 20-something years ago through Baco was on his program? Yes. Do we see good results with the top athletes that's working under his program today? Yes. Did athletes break records on his program during the Baco days? Yes. Did athletes break records under the SNAC program today? Yes. So there's a similarity there. Another similarity that causes people to be suspicious. Back then, Victor Conti told y'all saw the Netflix documentary, most of you, and we know this to be a fact. When you initially encounter Victor Conti, you have to undergo and be subject to comprehensive blood testing. Those were the words that Victor Conti used himself, comprehensive blood testing or blood screening. That's what Barry Bonds did. That's what Tim Montgomery did. That's what Marion Jones did. You heard Victor Conti on Graham Basinger's interview, which I played this weeks ago. That's what Sugar Shane Mosley did back then, during the Balco days. That's what Alex Rodriguez did in 2012, 7 years after Victor Conti got out of jail, when he said he's a changed man. That's what Terence Crawford did, according to Victor Conti. He said that on this channel. That's what Devin Haney did. He said that on this channel. That's what Clarissa Shields had to do. What I'm saying is that's a similarity. Is it necessary? Possibly so, of course. I'm just showing y'all similarities will cause someone to be suspicious. When Victor Conti said he changed his life with his words, but his actions are still the same as it was during the Balco. I'm talking about the behavior patterns. Let's move forward, because I don't want the chat to be lost. I need the chat to pay attention to me now. I want you to sound like y'all talking about anything else. Stay with me now. This is important. You might never hear this nowhere else. Now, what is something else that was a part of the Balco scandal, a part of the training regimen, which I asked Victor Conti about it, and I'm talking about the calendars. Y'all remember that? Yeah. The calendars. Back in the Balco days, Victor Conti and his team, they documented when to dope, when to taper off, when to get tested, when Victor Conti would send the blood and urine test privately to outside testing agencies, such as like Quest Diagnostics, LabCorp. You know, I'm talking about agencies like that. I'm not talking about doping agencies. Okay? That's what he did before. Correct? Okay. He used the calendar back then, during the Baco days. He used the calendar on his athletes. I asked him, is he using the calendar these days with his athletes? He told me yes. He's using the calendar with his athletes today. Another similarity. Now, there's a difference because Victor Conti said it was a difference. And the difference was, he said the calendars that I used back then during the Baco days was doping calendars. The calendars that he used today with his athletes are training calendars. Once again, we don't have any evidence of that. We're just going by words. So we're going to go by those words and ask the question of, what is there to need a calendar for? The fighter should know what days they're going to train in your gym. If you're shipping supplements to their home, I'm sure you'll tell them when to take it. If, legal, legal. I'm I'm not saying illegal. I'm saying legal now. I mean, I think everybody has a calendar in their phone, don't they? Don't the cell phones come with calendars? Don't the fighters have trainers with them that know the schedule too? We need answers. Another similarity from the Balco days to now. And that is a guy who was with him during the Balco days. Remy, the track coach. Yes, him. He was a part of the Balco scandal as well. Now, Victor is friends with him. In fact, to my understanding, he's the one that introduced some people to Mr. Victor. Anyway, I'm talking about this back in the day, during the Balco days. Okay. But my point is, he's still working with Victor to this day at the snack gym. You've seen him in certain all accesses and whatever else wasn't all access. It was, I forgot what the ESPN version of it is. Excuse me. When they was on the track with Devin Haney. Yeah, the track coach. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He was involved with the Balco scandals as well. And now today, he's still at the snack gym with Victor Conti. I'm just saying that's a similarity. I'm not here to judge their relationship. I'm saying it's a similarity. We've seen Remy around during those days, and now we see Remy again these days. Victor Conti, another similarity. He worked with a few boxers during the Balco scandal. And one of them, most notably, is Sugar Shane Mosley, who was under the facilitation of the grand jury in a deposition where he had to admit that he knowingly took the cream de clear in EPO, which he originally lied about, but he came out and he told the truth. It's on YouTube if you don't believe me. It's there. My point is that Victor Conti was working with boxers during the Balco days. And now he's working with boxers exclusively today. That's just the similarity that was from Balco back then to now. Moving right along. There were supplements used and bought online without blood testing. Even though athletes are taking the same supplements, but yet they are getting comprehensive blood testing. Let me give an example. I made this reference last night, but I'm going to make it again. Victor Conti was asked in the chat and in the super chat in the last interview, do the fighters under the snack program take the same supplements that any of us ordinary people can purchase online? And Victor Conti said yes. I actually put his comment on the screen. Was that Monday? I think that was on Monday. Was that Friday or Monday? I think it was Monday. Anyway. So if that is the case, and I'm not saying that is not the case, I'm just saying similarities. If that is the case, since fighters during the Balco era and other athletes in the Balco era was taking supplements, how do we know that those are not the same supplements? We don't know. But more importantly, if the athletes have to give comprehensive blood testing, so that Victor can analyze and evaluate their results based on their blood test before he gives supplements, then how come if any ordinary person or athlete purchased the supplements online, they don't have to undergo a comprehensive blood testing before they consume the products? They don't have to give background of their medical history before they consume the products. But yet, these are the same supplements that the athletes that work with SNAP are taking. We need answers. Now, what else? Both SNAP fighters competed in the same event. Let me be a little bit more specific. I told y'all this last night, and some of y'all didn't even know this, but you know now, and some of you that don't know will know right now again. Kelly White competed against Marion Jones in the 300-meter run. Both of them were a part of the ZMA training club during the Balco days. Of course, Marion Jones won that race or that run, but they both were under the same club. They competed against one another. And we see the similarity today that both boxing athletes can compete in the same ring, being under the same program with Victor Conte. And I'm referring to Terence Crawford versus Sean Porter. That's a similarity that we saw from the Balco days all the way again now. Moving right along. The athletes that Victor Conte worked with back then during the Balco days, they all were already winners. The athletes and boxers that Victor Conte worked with today, they're also winners. Well, man, Jamarty, what's the similarity? The similarity is that they both groups, the athletes from Balco, when it was illegal, and the athletes in SNAP, when they say it's legal, they both groups were winners before they got with Victor Conte. Both groups. That's another similarity from Balco 20 years ago and now. Before I continue, are we all on the same page here? I didn't ask you whether you agree or disagree. Hear me clearly. That's not important. Are y'all following me, following along what I'm saying? It's not about whether you agree or disagree. We'll get that in a minute. I just want to make sure the chat is with me here. I don't want anyone to be lost in translation. I don't want anything to be misinterpreted when this is over. Can I at least get a yes or no from somebody? Okay, great. Everybody said they're following. Good. Now, let's get down to something else that was a similarity. And I broke this news yesterday, and most of you didn't know it. So now I'm going to break it again, Mr. Q Brown. Back in the Balco days, C.J. Hunter, the ex-husband of Marion Jones, in Sydney, Australia, he tested positive for a banned substance known as nandrolone. The following year, 2001, Barry Bonds tested positive for nandrolone. And both of those athletes were under Victor Conte's Balco program back then. Now, that reference for Barry Bonds is from the Netflix documentary, where the paperwork and Barry Bonds' name Victor Conti's name, Jeff Novitzky's name is on there. This is not me making this up. And now, later, after Victor Conti got out of jail, which was 7 years later, 2012, Andre Berto, who was under the SNAC program at the time, tested positive for nandrolone. I forgot the traces of the long word, but the metabolite, nandrolone. That's a similarity from with the athletes that worked with Victor Conti under the Balco scandal. That's the same similarity to what Victor Conti's new program, SNAC, with Andre Berto. It's a similarity. Both guys, well, all three of them, tested positive for the same PED. During the Balco scandal and after Victor Conti was released from prison, this is 7 years later, by the way, as he re-entered boxing. We need answers. Now, what else happened back then during the Balco days that's happening now? That's very clear. Victor Conti is accusing other people of cheating. Now, somebody can say, well, when did he accuse other people of cheating? Back then. Remember he was on 2020? It's on YouTube if you don't believe me. On 2020, the show 2020, it's on YouTube. Y'all can go watch it. Victor Conti accused Marion Jones of cheating. Victor Conti accused Tim Montgomery of cheating. That was 20-some years ago during the Balco scandal. And now today, he accused Manny Pacquiao of cheating, Alex Ariza of cheating, and Angel Memo Heredia of cheating. That's a similarity. He was doing that behavior during the Balco days, and he's doing that today. He also accused Usain Bolt by saying he was highly suspicious of his performance. He also accused Lance Armstrong, saying he was highly suspicious of his performance. So how come when somebody is highly suspicious of the athletes that's working with him now in boxing, they wrong and they're a bunch of haters? Come on, y'all. Now, there were undetectable steroids that was used during the Balco days, back then. And Victor Conti said now that there are undetectable steroids that's in boxing and there is not a test for it. That's the same similarity from back then, when he said that back then, 20-some years later now, he's still saying the same exact thing. We need answers. Everything I just said was not my opinion. Oh, there's more. I have way more. But I'm going to stop there. But everything I said is public record. You can go look it up yourself. Do the research. Everything I said. See, I'm only bringing up stuff where y'all can go and cross-reference it so people can stop lying on me, saying I'm accusing and I don't like this person and I'm hating on this person. And look at the facts and keep me out of it. This ain't got nothing to do with me. I ain't juicing. I ain't cheating. So this ain't got nothing to do with me. But we need answers. When it comes to doping and boxing, nobody's words are good enough without evidence. Produce the paperwork.